Welcome to episode 364 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, Mac, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and we've got a great panel this week. First off, it's Jill McKinley's back on the show. How you doing, Jill? Glad you're here.
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's exciting times in the iOS and Apple world.
It is. We're at a post-WWDC 25 here. Also here, Marty Jencius. How you doing, Marty?
Good. It's Thursday. The heavy lifting for the work week's over with. And so it's always a pleasure to kind of have the evening to chat with y'all.
Yes, absolutely. And as well as Chuck Joyner is here. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing great, Dave. It's good to be here.
Yes.
It's interesting. I hadn't thought of this as exactly as post-WWDC 2025. I'm sort of processing that, even though it's obvious. It's an interesting way to look at it. It's like before dub and after dub bisects the year.
That's what makes this post episode great, because we can explore a little of the stuff that's been discovered for over the last week. Because we were so quick on getting into all the news of what happened last week, but now we're starting to hear more and more of what wasn't announced, and that's what we're going to have a little bit of touch on this week. And last but certainly not least, Eric Bolden's made it back to the show. How you doing?
Good. Glad to be here.
Yes, glad you're here. What's the flower behind you this week?
That is a catalpa. Nice flowering tree. It's kind of cool because it's a tree-sized, orchidish looking flower. It's just fun.
Well, it is fun, and you always have great things back there. So again, our normal format here. Everybody knows the drill here. We've got the Vision Pro, what's going on in beta this week, as well as what's in Mac, and lots of post stuff at WWDC 25. But let's start with the Vision Pro here. And pretty light news week for Vision Pro, but I wanted to touch a little bit on what Marty's been discovering so far with some of the new features on the VisionOS, the 26 beta. You did say that you tried some of the things, including the widgets, right?
Yeah, because I keep getting mixed messages, and so the last time I said I just got to try this myself. The first thing was, can I put widgets on my space? And I had to find the widget app, which was 10 pages in order to do it. It worked successfully. Then my next question was, will those show up the next time I boot up my Vision Pro? And the answer to that question is yes. And then the next question is, what about other apps? So I opened up Fantastical and threw it in the room. I couldn't attach it to the wall because it's not part of that wireframe thing that widgets are doing, but put it on another wall and then shut the thing down and turned it back up again. And sure enough, Fantastical was there. So there seems to be some app permanency that you can have.
All right. And then you said you watched the F1 trailer. How was that?
I have bits of vertigo that come and go, and there were certain points where because most of it was shot from the position of being in the car with Brad Pitt and taking a lap in an F1 car, and you can turn to the right and see Brad sitting there driving it, but mainly you're looking forward, and there were points in that where I got a little vertigo-y, shaky sort of thing going on. So I'm really wondering about this. I will go see it when it comes out in the theater with my son and probably my daughter, and we'll experience it that way. I did notice some depth of field stuff going on because there wasn't a very long depth of field in it. And it might have been because the camera was sitting behind a part of the frame of the car. So it seemed to be primarily focused on that portion of the frame of the car. So anything further down the track was not necessarily as clear as one would expect it. It's good to see. It's good to see in using a Vision Pro. It gives me some hope that this will eventually be released in some sort of spatial video
Hope so.
format, so people who have Vision Pros can appreciate it.
Yep. And also, you experienced. I've still, again, it's been a crazy week for me, as I mentioned pre-show, for work. So it's just really been hard for me to get in and dive into some of the stuff. But I can't wait now, because now you've really inspired me to make some time for it. You were able to scroll the windows with your eyes, and that was the big thing that they had talked about that coming. And
Yeah.
I have not tried that yet.
I've got to give it to Eric, and Eric can talk about it too. But
Okay, yeah.
I tried it at first, and it was like I was physically trying to pull my eyeballs out against it. It's like,
No head moving.
Yeah, move it. Come on, and Eric taught me the subtleness of being able to do it. So, Eric?
Yeah, it's more of a, you look towards the bottom of the page, assuming there's more, and more appears. Or look towards the top of the page, just, and then there's a little pause, but you're in that top of the page or bottom of the page region, and it just knows, oh, okay, you're moving in that direction. You look here, and stuff appears. It is really cool. Like, I have to admit, I had one day where I scrolled up and down a couple of times in Safari. I have no idea what I was reading. It was like watch it go by the other way, watch it go by. It was just nice. It was sort of relaxing.
Well, it's good. So that's about it with Vision Pro this week. But we had there were some good things that we found, and we'll always find more as time goes by here. Let's move on to beta, and iOS 26 beta 1 continues as it was released last week during WWDC. One of the notable things is there was a bit of a bug with iOS 26, and to fix a battery issue, they provided developers a revised version of the first iOS 26 beta for testing purposes. It's only for the 15 and the 16 models. So if you're running iOS 26 on anything earlier, you won't see that revision. So I have not gone on my 16E yet to run that up. That's how busy I've been. So registered developers will be able to download this and get taken care of. So it will be it will improve a bit of the battery life, because I did notice a little bit with the 16E that it was the battery was going a little lower than normal, because I wouldn't use it for a bit and pull it out of my bag, and then, hey, man, why is this so low? I hadn't really used it. No, it's been in sleep mode. So, so that's good. They caught that, and again, it's beta, so you have to expect.
It's a 500. It's a 500 megabyte. It goes really quick in terms of the update.
Yep. And then they did Apple released iOS 18.6 as a public beta. So this is the first seeded one this week, and it's beta testers that are still continuing to beta test iOS 18. You will get that through there. When it came out earlier this week, they didn't find any notable new features in here, but Apple did plan to release Apple Intelligence in China using this beta, but that plan has been delayed because, of course, on surprisingly no surprise of regulatory issues in that country. So, and of course, they'll continue on with the beta testing of iOS 26 and iPadOS 26. So that's about it for what's going on in beta this week. A couple notable things. We could talk a little bit about macOS Tahoe. That's macOS 26. And it's getting many of the same changes that's come to iOS. The liquid glass redesign. I'll talk about that in a minute. The liquid glass, and the changes to the apps like Messages, Safari, and the phone, which has been added to macOS, as well as an app that's new into the Mac this year. A whole new Spotlight system that they demoed, and the liquid glass on Macs looks a lot like it does on the iPhone, which was Apple's goal. But did the design and navigation parity between the operating systems was mission accomplished? Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I think the menuing bar is invisible, so there's more display space at the top of your Mac. Again, I haven't had a lot of time to play with macOS 26. So, have you, Marty?
I haven't noticed enough of it. Either it's so subtle that I don't see it, because I'm busy working, I'm not paying attention to the changes or gradations. I do know that the apps are more glassy, particularly the native apps are set up and are more glassy. I'm not sure the non-native apps have yet. The developers have made that transition to be able to deal with it, but it's I haven't had a chance to play with it that much, because I'm busy working, not thinking about what's new in this workflow that I can do with Tahoe that I couldn't do before. I just keep doing the workflow that I always did.
Okay. Jill or Eric, are you running any macOS Tahoe betas on your machines?
Not yet. I just got back from camping, so I didn't get a chance to install it yet, but I've watched a lot of it, and I'm pretty excited about the new Spotlight. And
yeah.
I thought, I have a production machine. It would be perfect.
You totally run it. Yeah.
So yeah, I installed it. And
no, you didn't.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I did. Well, I installed it actually. Tell you, there was a reason. So I installed it because much of my work during the day is on the Apple Vision Pro using the virtual Mac desktop.
Mm-hmm.
And on the current OS, it's really hard to get that to connect. Like every once in a while it will, and then it doesn't. So I installed the beta. That works much better. And oddly enough, if you successfully connect to a beta machine, then oftentimes you can connect to a second machine that isn't the beta. I have no idea why.
I'll have to try that because I have it on my Mac Mini.
Yeah, but it was nice. I didn't like the somewhat invisible menu bar. I rely on that, and just having words floating, I kept not finding it. So I actually went into to the settings and made it less transparent and increased contrast and did some other stuff so it looks closer to the old style. Thankfully, you can do that. So,
yeah, what I did was basically change my background to solid black, and that and I kind of like to use that because it gives less reflection off the screen when I'm podcasting or video casting. And so I use that as my background. So it doesn't I don't have that loss of acuity as much with the new glass format. Jill was excited about the Spotlight. I attempted to find some files for a class that I taught 2 years ago, and it doesn't seem any smarter to me than the other type of Spotlight. But I did notice I had some options. I could look for folders. I could look, and I could put those kind of shortcuts into Spotlight to do it, but I still couldn't find the damn things. So, just did not work for what I needed at the time.
It does seem to be faster though. Like it may or may not have the answer, but you get to the answer or no answer much faster than before.
Yeah, I did notice that I was less satisfied faster than I was in the past.
Okay. Then the other thing I wanted to chat real quick about is the new theming system that was introduced during DubDub. Apple did introduce a concept of themes, which is a new appearance settings that's beyond the traditional light and dark modes. So you can customize the look of your Mac and Mac desktop more than ever. What's changed is in the settings and in appearance, you can go to standard auto, light, and dark modes, but Apple has added several options that allow you to really mix things up and create your own styled desktop environment. So I have not tried this yet, but you can add things like accent colors that become colored. There's new text highlight colors. You can go in and the default setting maintains the classic macOS look, and you can have app icons that display their original colors, but then now you can customize folder colors even more. Then you have a new folder color option, which is cool, and a lot more customizations. So it's kind of fun to see where you could go with this. Marty or Eric, have you tried this at all? I haven't had a lot of time in the beta yet, but I have it on the machine ready to go.
Yeah, it's found under appearance, and again, it's a palette that you get to play with. I tried to turn the brightness up, but it did not make me any smarter.
Yeah. How about you, Eric?
I kind of tinkered with it. I find that I don't like messing with what things look like.
Okay.
Although
Fair.
the concept of being able to put different icons in the folders, that was appealing to me. I just haven't gotten far enough to play with that.
Okay. Well, something just to take a look at, and definitely might want to play with it. And Chuck, I know you don't like beta, so we're not going to even.
No, I don't like beta, but I have to tell you, Dave, this may be a year that I think about it once it hits public betas. Because I don't have a developer account because you're right, I don't care for betas. But some of these things seem they keep striking me on iOS and iPadOS and even Tahoe that these are changes that I want to play with and I don't mean the appearance stuff. I mean, that's great. And I think that may, I somebody that is much more well-versed in accessibility can comment on, if that, I guess the flexibility, enhances accessibility, but the productive features that I can see here, I really kind of want to get my hands on them. So it will not be on a production machine; it'll be on a test machine. But I may break my own rules this year.
Well, that's impressive. I didn't expect to hear that, but I did break my rules, and I did install iPadOS on my production iPad Pro M4 13-inch, and I just couldn't resist. I think just the new multiple app opening and being able to put them in grids and move the apps around and being able to do much more navigation, the files app with the customizations. And the Mac-like menuing is just amazing. So, I have a beta iPad I usually put it on, but it's an older one. But now I want to be able to actually experience it on something a more current model. So I did bite the bullet. I don't know if Marty, Marty probably did, but I don't know if you did, Eric, right?
Oh, yeah.
You did it too. Okay,
yeah.
So I guess I'm not the only one here.
It was so worth it.
I think so too.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are with iPadOS for sure. So definitely, as we always say, if it's a production device and you don't want something to possibly go wrong, don't install it. But we like to go on live on the edge a little bit. The thing is, the iPad doesn't become a major primary device for me. I'm okay if it crashes, I can rebuild it. Well, whereas like my iPhone, no way. My production iPhone, no way. I will never do it. That's why I have a second iPhone to do that with. So. All right, let's go on and move on to another story here. There was a lot of interviews with Craig Federighi and Greg Jaworski and Josky, and there. I mean, I could have listed at least 10 places that they talked to, except for John Gruber. But this one was interesting. The fact that on Mac Stories, Federico Viticci, of course, he's known as iPad as his main device, and he does lots of amazing write-ups and relates to iPad and what he's done. So he wanted to do what he wanted to do is he was able to interview Craig Federighi, and they went into a deep dive into the iPad and the changes, which is coming up. So this is definitely, I think, this is a must-watch interview for people wanting to find more about the iPad here. But Federico was saying that he figured out multitasking on the iPad has been a multi-year task that required experimentation. And I'm quoting him here as saying, figuring out what the right multitasking experience is for this device and in all the ways that makes it unique has been something I think deserved careful exploration. And Federico begins after telling him that he's on an iPad every day, all the time. But Apple wanted to ensure that users didn't have to worry about managing those apps, and that led to the first implementation of slide over and split view multitasking, which was god awful and was limited. I couldn't half the time couldn't get the things over. So, but that's what Federico had said, that they wanted to be ensuring that that iPad simplicity and interaction stays intact, like almost being job one. And then Stage Manager came around, and we can go on and on about some of the things that were in there, but I think this is definitely a must-watch if you really want to get into some of the diving deep into this. But I think, again, we all tempted, and many of us here have already installed it because I think it's something that it's been a long time coming, and what I just reviewed with this. So, what do you? I'm not sure. You, Chuck, what do you think about this? With Craig, what he said.
You brought up Federico, which I think is an interesting thing because Federico found a way to make it work, and it probably meant some compromises, but he was dedicated to it. So you could do it if you really wanted to. I think this is going to open it up a little bit more, but I think Craig's comments were legitimate. Let's face it, we all adapt to the devices we're given and the software we're given. It's seldom that the software and the devices adapt to us. So it's just a matter of how much adaptation you want to undertake to try to make a device work for you. And again, Federico did it with the iPad. It sounds like Craig was doing it with the iPad. Now we know what Federico does. We don't know what Craig was doing, but
of course,
but I guess I can only speak for me. I found the iPad to be a fantastic device for certain tasks. For other tasks, not so much, but that's okay because I found that there's some things I'd rather do on my iPad than on my Mac. So, I feel like we're constantly looking for good and bad guys in this story. And, I don't know that there's anybody wearing a black hat or a white hat. They're just a bunch of gray hats out there running around.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Joe? What do you think about this? This was some great information that Craig they really focused on just the iPad in this interview.
Yeah, I agree, and I thought his fork and spoon analogy was really good. But I'll tell you an example. I went camping last week, and I have a nature podcast, and I thought I'm going to bring my MacBook because I want to record while I'm camping some nature podcasts. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. I could use my iPad Pro. Well, wait, can I get the microphone in? Well, I can. And can I have a keyboard? And I thought, there's no reason I can't use this for camping. Yeah. And I was suddenly delighted by the fact that I really could do so many things with the iPad I hadn't considered before. And so I'm excited to see this new adventure. And, I understand his point, and I'm glad he's looking at how people use it, because I think when the iPad first came out, you sat on your couch and you scrolled through the internet and looked people up on Internet Movie Database and did a few things here and there and played some games. But now it's turning into a real device that you can do practically everything in. So, yeah.
How about you, Eric? What do you think?
I like Sporks. So every year at the state fair, the Spork is my favorite utensil.
I think I have a show title.
Yeah.
The previous way of trying to get multiple apps to show up involved having to Google how to do it every time you wanted to do it, and that is a really bad user experience. Yeah. This fired up an app, saw there's this weird thing in the corner that looks just like VisionOS, moved it, and it's like joy. And then I thought I'd do it again. I'll launch a different app. Same thing, moved it. And I could do that 3-4 times. I had different apps. I moved. It's like almost everything I ever wanted just showed up. So, yeah, this is really good.
Okay. I'll wrap it up with you, Marty, on this one.
I'm listening to what Eric's saying, and I have to get out of the thinking that I can only open one app at a time, because the multitasking in the past was such a pain in the butt that it was just, okay, I'm just going to do this one app at a time and do what I have to do. And so getting used to the idea of being able to use windows or multiple windows or frames just sounds really exciting to me. The way he explained it, it was like, this is a natural evolution. that we had to find out what people really wanted. I think if they would have field tested any of the stuff that they gave us beforehand, they would have quickly found out that people didn't want it or it didn't work for folks. The people who wanted it were people that were so hungry for multitasking and Windows on it that they would have liked anything you thrown at it. I wonder if there's something about, well, the change in the operating system that permits it, and also the differences in hardware from when they first started to do it to where it is now. And that might be the rest of the story that he's not talking about.
Well,
Yep.
what was always incredible to me is that you have now the M chips in these iPad devices so greatly powered, and people are scrolling and looking up Internet Movie Database and playing video games. I thought this could really do so much more. So, yeah, I'm glad.
Absolutely. All right. Before we move on, I wanted to make sure give a shout out to our folks that are in the chat room tonight at youtube.com/intouchableios. I see Cletus in the chat. Thanks for being here, Cletus, as well as Web Bixby and Witherbucket. Jill's brothers joins us. How you doing, Witherbucket? And he had a good line here about your spork there. The timing on that Sporks line was comedy gold. That was good. So I do like that too. Great to see everybody here in the chat this week. Let's go ahead and we'll move on here to the first of many of these post finds I wanted to talk about. Is what's been discovered this after this week of all the developers going through and some of the stuff here. So I'm not going to hit all. We have a ton of stories in here. I'm not going to hit them all, but I want to just going to bring some of the ones that are very notable. Safari. There's some great changes in Safari and iOS 26 going beyond the address bar. One of the key changes in Safari's iOS 26 is a redesigned liquid glass address bar. And 3 layouts are available to choose from. But beyond that, the upcoming software update included a few more smaller changes for the web browser. He says there are web apps now for all websites. So every website that is added to the home screen via Safari will open as a web app, and that's not to be if it's not configured to be. On earlier iOS versions, the websites would just not be configured to open the web; it would just open in Safari. So that is really cool. And as well as HDR images are now supported in Safari, SVG icons, and there's going to be much more. I'm going to hit some of these things. Marty, have you tried any of these features in Safari? I have, especially with the floating bar. I really like that a lot.
Yeah, the thing is that's weird about it, whenever you get a new operating system and one like this that has such substantial additions to it, you start punching buttons where you used to punch buttons, and then you get a layered whole, choices in terms of a drop up menu that will give you some options where you didn't have that before. So there's a bunch of discovery that goes on just by punching around and seeing what can happen with it. And I've just noticed that experience, that I'm getting more out of each touch that I make on my iPhone. There's more options for me in terms of decisions that I had in the past.
What about you, Eric? What do you think on this?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Marty on the. I've got a memory of what I want to do, and it doesn't quite match up just yet. I think I'm going to really like it, but I keep hitting issues when I go to share a website, or I want to go open a specific bookmark, or when I go to deal with my 500 tabs that are too many.
500? Wow.
Yeah, I hit that limit, and then I feel like I need to kind of close some to be able to function at all. And kind of getting to the right spot to deal with that seems to be a problem. But on the other hand, I'm finding I don't accidentally end up opening 500 tabs just because. So some of the changes seems to have been good. I just haven't gotten used to it yet.
Okay. How about you, Joe? What do you think on this?
I think the thing that excited me the most was the freestanding app. I've always liked that. And so I'm
Yeah.
very excited to play with that more. I had memory problems with some websites in Safari old, and so I'm going to start testing to make sure that those memory issues maybe got better. I'm hoping. I switched to Brave because of that. I want to switch back to Safari as soon as I can. So,
How about you, Marty?
I think you already checked in with me.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then I'll leave it to Chuck. If he has any comments. Thank you.
No, I mean, because I haven't run the betas yet, I don't know. But this is exactly the list that I feel like is pushing me toward wanting to play with the betas. They're just a lot of nice, depending on what you do, a lot of nice little or maybe not so little features, additions, enhancements, tweaks that I feel like I really want to go in and just see, hey, that looks interesting. Is that for me? So I've got nothing but positive things to say about all of this. I don't think there's anything here that's silly or gratuitous. I think it just depends on whether it suits what you do or not.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, the last few betas over the last 4 versions, there's nothing been exciting about it. And didn't excite me enough that I would want to take a risk on any of my production devices. So, but yeah, a lot of this stuff is just again, when I just talked about the iPad, it's just very exciting. And I agree with you that it's becoming, that's why I think I've seen your arm getting twisted here, so you want to put it on one of your production devices, Chuck. So,
well, I'm twisting my own arm, Dave. That's the thing. It's not.
Oh, I figured. No, I knew that. This was helping you.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And I want to commend you for talking about things that were just discovered post WWDC because they couldn't talk about all these things, and that's it. There's so many. The more I read these articles, it's like, I like that, and I wish it had talked about that sooner. But
I will spread these out.
Yeah,
there's so many.
I am not getting a developer account. I'm not putting the developer betas on this week.
I gotcha. So I wanted to mix it up a little bit because we're always talking about the big two iOS or iPadOS, but the CarPlay, which is of course part of iOS. There's some pretty exciting things. I did try it. I did hook my 16E to my car, and I've got an older car, so it's got a little bit older technology with CarPlay. I want to try it on my wife's Jeep Grand Cherokee and see how it goes with the newest technology. But already you've got the glass the design, and I did see this when you use CarPlay. It's going to have that design that extends the CarPlay's interface, as well as like the iPhone. It's going to look more like a shimmery app icons and translucent user interface elements. The new Messages app feature it was cool. It does have it allows you to respond to messages with the standard tap X, like a heart, thumbs, or exclamation marks directly through CarPlay, which is pretty cool because you always had to use your voice, which you probably technically should, based on safety when you're driving, of course. And then now you see pinned conversations, which is pretty awesome. I like the way that the graphics look just like it is in Messages on an iPhone. Was before, not right now, with iOS 18 and prior, it's always just that long list of messages, which is fine. And you got the little dot telling you that there's a message, and then you tap it and it reads it to you. But this is really cool. They've now got compact views for phone calls because when you know how it is now, when you open up a phone call, it's a full screen showing you whoever you're calling, and then it's got all the big buttons to hang up and answer. But now it's got the small compact view, just like it does on an iPhone. And you do have some live activities that you have as well, and widgets. Multi-touch maps are going to be available. You can now watch videos while you're parked. That's pretty cool. So it does know when you're parked. Of course, you put the car in park, and you can wirelessly stream videos to the CarPlay screen. So that's kind of a game changer right there. I've never thought that Apple would ever give in to that because we're safety first, but it's obviously programmed enough that it's going to be able to sense that you're not driving and allow it to be so you're driving safely. It does have the smart display zoom setting. When this is enabled, the CarPlay will automatically resize to better fit the shape and size of your vehicle's dashboard screen, if possible. So it will adjust. And on and on. There's been all kinds of great views, and they're showing views here in the article here too. So again, your CarPlay user, Chuck, what do you think some of these new features are going to bring to you?
I like the idea that we may be able to get more things on the screen. I hope that the enhanced S lady, when she gets here, will give us a little more control, easier control. I hope that they do more integration with that, because I think that to me is one of the big things about CarPlay. As much as I like having everything up on that dash, I want to be able to do more voice control. So
Yes.
we will, again, I want to get my hands on it and play with it. You're not helping me, Dave.
I know.
You keep pointing out things I want to play with.
Yeah.
And
At least it's not going to cost you any money. So we keep asking you to buy a Vision Pro with us, but
but I don't have an extra car to install this stuff in. So
just buy a different phone and use it for all the betas.
You're not helping.
That's
Marty.
what I did.
You're not helping.
That's what I did too.
But that, Marty, that just pushes my Vision Pro back. So
forget what I said.
Yeah. Never mind. Eric, what about you?
I keep forgetting to try it. Well, actually, that's not true. I have plugged it in and tried it, but I guess I didn't notice the change, or it just was smooth enough. It just worked. And I haven't tried anything specifically that's one of the new features. So now I want to pause, get up and go, drive around for a bit. So, I guess it's a good thing because it wasn't so noticeable. It distracted me. It just kind of continued to work.
Okay. Yep. I said the minimal time I had with it, it was a good experience. Again, it's not my primary phone, so it was a little harder to get connected, especially when I have one of the wireless adapters that it was a bit of a challenge. I ended up having to plug it in to get it to work. So since I didn't want to mess up my my primary device when it usually works with the wireless. So Marty, what do you think on this?
I have a very short commute, but I have had some appointments I've had to get to, and I've played with it, and I want to do all the cool stuff that I saw in the demo, and I'm just not getting those screens. I mean, I can tell there's a difference in the interface. I can tell that the icons look a little bit bigger and a little more glassier. And when I get to the Apple podcast page, I used to have 10 that were on the screen. Now I can get about 6. So they enlarged the resolution on it, at least in my car. But I don't really want to do that cool map, where you're like driving at the, like a bird's eye view just behind the car. And I can't get it no matter what I do. So I don't know if it's a limitation in my vehicle. I don't think it should be, but I just haven't gotten to see the cool stuff yet.
Yep. And lastly, Jill, what do you think?
Well, I have to say I have one and only phone. And I use it for work, but I have to say I am this close to installing the developer on it because I just want to see it. And the other part of it is I bought a car in September. Does CarPlay ever get too old where they won't update it anymore? Will I get the new update? Yeah. So I'm this close. I'm going to totally do it. But I was excited about the new CarPlay. I'm very big into it now that I have it. And I'm probably just going to break down and do this.
My car's a 2018, so it's relatively old. So but it's been working okay. Yeah. So
cool.
And then I want to talk a little about the Apple Watch. Apple Watch, there's some pretty cool features coming to Apple Watch, WatchOS 26, and a number of them include some of the things like the Workout Buddy. They did talk about that during the session here, so I won't go too much into this, but does basically a powered personal assistant that's built into Workouts app, so you can gather data from prior sessions, including the training load software that was introduced in WatchOS 11, providing specific feedback before, during, and after your workout. The wrist flick, they talked about this, where now you can flick to dismiss calls instead of having to completely turn them. So, and then the liquid glass, I have not seen it on the watch yet, but it looks cool. And contextual notification volume, you'll see one of more useful changes. That the notifications chime is now automatically adjusted in volume based on the background noise. So it does sense that, so it's not crazy loud. And then smart stack updates. they've added that provides that. Music curation is available as another helpful buddy and a widget that's in there. Does have the live translation in messages on your watch. That's pretty cool. So they've incorporated that into the watch as well. And then, of course, they added the notes and more added apps are available. I don't know how you're going to read notes on your watch, but I guess I like to see where that happens. I draw the line on the watch. I don't think I want to. I don't want to install it because I don't want to mess it up because it's nice to have my wrist, and I'd rather just it'd be stable. So, and not much else to add. And this is most of the stuff that they did talk about at DubDub from last week. Unless anybody wanted to add anything on this.
This is the other reason why I want to upgrade my phone. So I'm going to upgrade. So like I said, chances are I'm probably just going to upgrade my phone tonight because I can't stand it. And the watch.
What did I do?
I with the watch, I have been wearing my watch more regularly for heart rate and for having those kind of health things, because I've had some health things in the last couple of weeks. And so I'm trying to keep track of it. So the best way to do that is to wear my watch. I even wear it at night sometimes. So I've been more aware of the changes in this. Workout Buddy doesn't mean anything to me other than the icon shows up when I'm walking and doing long walks. My favorite thing is the wrist flick, because I'll be listening to something in my car, and it'll show up and pair with my watch. And then it's like, I don't want that. I want to know what time it is. And so that, instead of having to use a hand to find the corner to make it go back, I can just do that. And that's really nice. Liquid glass looks really good if you're using photos from your album. It will do the same sort of thing that it does with iOS 16 on your homepage. And I haven't done the live translation with it. The notifications piece, I thought I don't need to, but I've had a few cases where I've looked at it, the notifications have come up, and it's sort of like, okay, yeah, I needed that from there. And then I'd flick my wrist and it would go away. So I'm doing more with it, probably because I'm doing more with my watch now.
Okay. And then, a couple more things I wanted to hit on this. The Reminders app. There's been some pretty cool things that are coming to the Reminders app in iOS 26. We all know liquid glass is the consistency. I won't get into that as much as we know it's going to be there. They did add some quick task creation from the control center, so you have a new reminder task that you can go from the task list and in the command center or control center, excuse me, and you can add that control right into Control Center. You can do it as an action button or even on your lock screen. So if you want to be able to create that list, you can now lists that are auto-categorized. So you can create categories of your specific reminders, which is a great a feature, which was also part of the sections, which was an existing feature. And of course, Apple Intelligence got some suggested reminders. You'll get to be able to experience that. And callback reminders, where you actually can go and call somebody if it's a reminder to call somebody. You got the icon for FaceTime or for phone, and you can be able to do it right from the reminder instead of having to toggle out and go make the call. And it does have time zone overrides if you travel, and you're probably some of you probably encountered these issues with the reminders alerting you of unexpected moments because you're in a different time zone. So overall, seems like some pretty cool things in reminders. Anybody want to add anything to this? I mean, I'm not a heavy reminders user. I use it a little bit. I don't know how much you guys use it.
I use Todoist, and I'm a very heavy to-do reminders person. And I would love to go back and use reminders if it can catch, it doesn't fully have to catch up with Todoist, but if it started that and calendars, because I also use Fantastical and those work together. If I can get the two of those, the calendars to work better with it, I'm going to switch out. And so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Dave, it's funny you bring it up because I'm slowly trying to make a switch over to reminders and use it more, again, because of the voice aspect of it, that I can tell it to remind me of something, and as opposed to having to open an app or do something else in that regard. And so I'm not there yet, but I am definitely moving in that direction. And once again, because it's an Apple app, it means it's going to sync across everything easily without having to, think about it. So I'm looking at some of these enhancements and thinking, okay, there are a couple more things there that will make me happy that I'm trying to make this transition. We'll see how it goes, but it feels good that they're paying attention to some of these ancillary apps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I just,
anybody else want anything?
Well, I was going to say, I had one other thought, is I was, big into the Microsoft world, a decade ago. I waited 11 years so that they could move the start button from the left to the middle. They took OneNote. The last update was like 2014. It's ridiculous. And it's great to see Apple continue these smaller projects like Chuck was saying, that they just don't make them and abandon them like some other companies do.
Yeah.
Well, and Apple sorry, go ahead, Marty.
I have struggled with trying to have a good to-do list option, and I've gone to the high end with OmniFocus, and it seems like it's more work, and I'll just forget them anyways. And then I tried Things because I really liked Things for a while, and then I tried Todoist because I was also sporting an Android phone at the same time, and that's multi-platform. And I've just gone back to reminders because what I need is a list, and what I need is a list that cuts across all devices. With Chuck, I like the voice activation aspect of it because that's when that's the easiest way for me to get things into it. The sad part is I have to go look at it to get things out of it, and that's always been a struggle for me.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the news for this week. First story here, our friends at Facebook and Meta now is going to support passkeys for passwordless login on the iPhone and the iPad. Meta did announce this yesterday as we record here, that the passkey support has been added to Facebook, making it easier to sign in securely without a password. As we know, passkeys are compatible with all Apple devices, so iPhones and iPads can use the passkeys for the Facebook logins instead of passwords. Passkeys are available on iOS devices soon, as Meta says, and our support to the Messenger in the coming months. Same passkey that's set up for Facebook will also work for Messenger when the passkey support launches. And Meta says that the passkeys are only going to be available in mobile devices for the time being, so they're not going to do it on Mac if you're using it on the Mac here. And of course, passkeys are stored securely in Apple's Passwords app, and they sync across all your devices. And Meta says that you can set up the passkey by going to the Account Center in Settings and choosing that option in your Facebook settings. Any thoughts on this?
Well, I locked myself out of Facebook about 5 years ago, and I couldn't remember the password, and I never stored it in 1Password. And I never cared that much to go find it until my class reunion came up. So I'm probably happy that this is happening because I don't even know how to get into Facebook anymore.
Okay. Anybody else?
The only thing I'll throw in is that this is part of the problem with passkeys, that Meta's going to support it on iOS, but they're not going to support it on the Mac. And so now, it'll be convenient, and I understand why they're prioritizing iOS, but at the same time, it's like I still got to remember a password, or I still have to have a password manager on my Mac, which I obviously would anyway. But it just feels like that inconsistent usage thing that I struggle with the whole passkey concept. I think it's a great concept, but it has to be implemented on the server side, and the implementation is inconsistent. And so I think this is why passkeys have not taken off any more than they have.
All right. Anybody else want anything? All right. Next story is Apple has begun selling a wide range of accessories in fun summer colors. They've teamed up with a handful of accessories makers to offer chargers, stands, cases, power banks, cables, and more in fun new color options, including teal, coral, and deep purple. The splash of color is arriving just for summer in many countries. They're going to be available exclusively from Apple, both online and in-store pickup. Brands that are participating is Anker, Belkin, of course, Herschel, Mophie, Nimble, Pop Sockets. I didn't even know Apple was selling Pop Sockets. That's new. SanDisk, Sateki, Scosche, and Tech 21 and 12 South. A lot of good vendors that Apple has partnered with to get a lot of these great accessories. And there's a number of great things, including wall chargers and a Curve Mini stand from 12 South and all kinds of other great stuff. So check it out. I think it's kind of cool to see some fun, fresh new colors for accessories. If you so choose.
Yeah, what makes a color fun?
Marty,
Okay.
you'd know if you were into fun things.
Well, I'm colorblind, so for me, gray is fun.
No, then there's that problem.
Oh.
Yeah, gray is the funnest color in the world.
I have to say that
Okay.
part of my dislike of Apple in the 80s is everything was light beige, soon to become dark beige as it got dirtier and dirtier. And I was like, I'm glad to see the colors, man. I'm glad. I'm there for it.
Yep. Okay. And then this is right up Chuck's alley. He loves lawsuits.
Thanks, David. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Apple's hit with a class action lawsuit.
You should play the Law and Order, thing whenever you.
Dun dun.
do
Yeah. I'll maybe add that in post.
One side is law, and the other side is Chuck.
I'm done. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, thank you.
Got another show title now.
Thank you, Marty.
Apple's going to be faced with a proposed class action lawsuit in California federal court over allegations that iCloud unlawfully monopolizes iPhone's users' access to core device backups, following a judge's decision denying the company's motion to dismiss the case. This was announced this week, yesterday, as we record. And this was in Northern District, California, ruled that the plaintiffs have sufficiently amended their complaint to move forward with the antitrust claims in light of substantial new allegations. The lawsuit was originally filed in March of 2024. Alleges that Apple effectively forces consumers to use iCloud for backing up iPhone data while restricting third-party services from providing compatible functionality, with wired backups only being the other option. While Apple permits third-party services to back up user data such as photos, videos, and documents, the company does not allow them to access certain system-level settings, including device settings, app configurations, and encrypted key changes. So, I mean, that's fair. But what the more annoying thing that Apple does is they only provide free 5 gigabytes of storage. I mean, at least Google and OneDrive and many of the others, maybe 10, 15 gigs. I think it's a little more fair. 5 gigs, you eat that up in about 2 seconds, honestly. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, and I don't know if it's going to open things up with Apple and iCloud backup. But Chuck, tell us what you think.
When did it become an entitlement first of all, when did it become an entitlement for us to have backups? We went for years with the Apple II. We went for years with the Mac without having iCloud backups. So you had plenty of options. But all of a sudden, now that it's there and Apple provides it at a price, now it becomes an entitlement. I have a phrase for that I will not utter on this show because it's not obscene, it's political. But it annoys me. And if I'm reading if I read the article right, prevents other parties from providing this. Wrong. Well, somebody go try Backblaze.
Mm-hmm.
You can back up.
Yeah, which I do.
There's no problem.
Yeah.
But guess what? You do have to pay for it. I mean, I don't understand this. And okay, so Microsoft gives you more, Google gives you more. Fine. Those are competitors. That just has, to me, that has nothing to do with anything except enhancing the entitlement mentality. So, I think once more, it's just somebody trying to make money off of Apple. And it's just half the claims are wrong and the other half are entitlements. And so I don't get it. If I want it, I get 5 gigs to use as I choose. But now all of a sudden I'm supposed to have enough space to back up all my photos just because I'm an Apple customer? No. and all my system settings and all my documents, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, there's no entitlement there. Apple did not tell you that you were going to get this when you bought your Mac. So there's no bait and switch, unlike some companies. So, please feel free to argue with me, but I still don't get it every time I see these kind of articles and these kind of lawsuits.
Yeah. And Web Bixby in the chat says he's got your back, Chuck.
Yeah, thanks, Web. I appreciate that. I seem to be a voice in the wilderness here.
How about you, Marty? What do you think on this?
I don't disagree with you at all, Chuck. I'm in complete agreement. That was the first thing that popped into my mind. I don't know why anybody is saying Apple has to do this for us because other companies are doing this for us. Well, there are other companies that can do that for you, but it's not written in a scenario, and you weren't duped into it, that Apple has to do what you want it to do in terms of backup. So I'm with you. I think these things are frivolous.
No, I kind of agree. I do agree.
Yeah. And, try a different phone.
I remember when Windows let me back up everything for free and even some settings. But to me, the security is the biggest issue. And I think that as long as you're not, I wonder how much these backups could reach into security. And now they're talking about keychain and, other things. And I'm like, I'd rather have my phone secure, than have it back up everything, I guess is.
Yeah. And Jill, that's a big part of the point. What you say is real key to it. I'm making a decision because I feel comfortable with the platform and because I feel particularly comfortable with the security associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
And other people are making decisions because they like Android phones or they like whatever they perceive as the flexibility with it. But a cost comes to that for them that doesn't come from me because of the choices I made. So, but I lose out on the stuff that they like, but that doesn't, this is all about choice and the idea that people are trying to homogenize companies into all acting with the same benefits or the same intention. It's just crazy to me.
Yep. Eric, anything you want to
add? Well, two things. One, 5 gigabytes now is perhaps just a little not quite enough free space, given the numbers of devices people have and the camera changes and the other media changes. Realistically, something bigger would be nice. That being said, it almost looked like they're complaining that if you pay $1 a month, you get too much space, which also doesn't really make any sense to me. A little bit more for free storage. I'm all in favor of that if that's possible. Yeah. But there's no such thing as too much storage. Plus, if you get a new device, you get all the space you need to back up and restore to the new device. So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, isn't that like 30 days that you can use that space?
Mm-hmm.
So that's more than enough time to, do a backup and then test your new device, make sure everything's working before the backup expires.
Yeah. Yeah. At least Apple did add that feature when you are doing a new backup from an old phone to a new phone.
Yeah, but isn't it funny how little publicity that feature gets?
It does.
From the tech media.
I'm surprised this lawsuit hasn't died yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Next story here. Google says iOS 26 copies these 3 Android features. In a new ad that's on YouTube, Google says iOS 26 copies these 3 Android features that have been available on the Pixel phones for years. That's Live Translate, Hold Assist, and Call Screening. And the video has been an ongoing hashtag Best Phones Forever series. Shows an iPhone and a Pixel 9 Pro talking to each other in a fictional podcast. Quite snarky and a little silly, I think. But it announces the live translations for text messages. The iPhone says, and it turns out I've had that for 4 years. The Pixel 9 Pro responds, and it goes on to do the same thing. That the rest of the features are there. The hold assist was, which automatically says stays on hold and notifies you when the representative joins. Well, the Pixel supported that for the last 5 years, the Pixel 3 and onward. And then the third one was call screening. Lets the system screen incoming unknown calls by asking the caller's identity first. And then the Pixels had that feature since approximately 2018. So what is that, 7 years ago? So I think the ad was poking and was getting a little cheeky and just really emphasizing, oh, look, Apple's playing catch up. But I was kind of good humor, I think. But what do you think on this, Eric?
Okay.
All right.
They're giving a little flattery to Google's phones. They need everything they can get. If it's a good idea, make it work everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone will get used to it. No matter what platform you're on, you can use it. And I am all in favor of that. And we certainly don't want just one platform.
Right. Anybody else want to add anything to this?
Does shame-based marketing work? Because they're trying to shame me into thinking, oh, I'm sorry, I should have bought a Pixel phone. Boy, am I stupid.
I am stupid. I bought one. I still have it.
Yeah, I bought it twice and sold them back. That's how stupid I am. But, the shame-based for me only works in one situation. You know what that's called? Marriage.
Where
where shaming will get you to do something. I don't think it's a great marketing strategy to degrade the people who you want to win over to buy your product.
No. Want to add something, Chuck?
Yeah, maybe I'll fight snark with snark because they had it. Did anybody know about it? Was anybody using it? How good was it? I mean, they can say they had it, but I'm thinking back to CES this year where there were all these devices that were translating for you,
Mm-hmm.
and if a Pixel phone already had that, then why did anybody even continue to develop these devices? And so it's either because nobody knew about it, nobody was using it, or it wasn't very good. So, and as far as Apple copying it, well, if they copied it and they do it well, because how many times have we seen that where they took a feature from somewhere else and people say, oh, they copied it and they made it so much better because it actually worked. So, I don't know. And Dave, if you had a Pixel phone, did you try these things? Did they work? Or did you even not know about them?
I kind of didn't even know about it or think about it. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on an Android device. I have it just for the sake of support for me when I get people ask me questions. I mean, when I'm on the Android device, I'm kind of lost. Like sometimes an Android person is lost on an iPhone. Because if you don't use it all the time, you kind of lose it, and you're not in a good spot to understand how to use it. And that's how we learn things, by you using it all the time. So, I didn't even know about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Anybody want to add anything else?
I just imagine this competing ad. Google sells your data. Google sells your data even when you're in privacy mode. Google, has whatever. What was it at some point? Android phones were zombies of viruses that were going to erupt at any minute. I mean, I could just sit there and make a competing thing. Get your security together and get your privacy together, and maybe you can start talking smack against Apple, I guess is my point.
Yeah, and don't you know Apple has been doing that never in terms of selling data and things like that. So.
Right.
Yep. Next story here. Adobe released this app, Firefly. It's on iOS and Android, and it was launched this week as a mobile app for iOS and Android. Allows users to generate images and videos using text prompts and integrating both Adobe's own generative AI models and a growing list of third-party models from companies like OpenAI, Google, and Flux. Firefly is designed to be a cross-platform hub for generative AI content creation, with features like text-to-image, text-to-video, image-to-video, generative fill, generative expand, and many others. And it's using most of OpenAI's image model and Google's image gen and others. And all content that's generated within the mobile app is automatically synced with users' Creative Cloud account. Creative Cloud subscribers can access the Firefly's app tool as part of their existing subscription, but the use of certain AI features requires some Firefly generative credits to a token-based system that Adobe introduced in 2023. These credits are allocated monthly for you Creative Cloud users. So basically, I did download this app. I hadn't had a chance to try it, but this sounds like you have to have a Creative Cloud account for it to even be any use, right? So if you have Creative Cloud, this might be a good tool for you to check out.
I have Creative Cloud, and I have Creative Cloud. I'm now downloading it to try it out.
I have it too, and report back to us.
Yeah.
Apple has, as they always do in the summertime, they have a back-to-school sale that's live, offering free accessories with purchases. Their annual back-to-school promotion is offering eligible students, educators, and parents free accessories worth up to $199 on purchasing select Mac and iPad models through September 30th. Promotion is different from last year's $150 gift card format. Instead of providing eligible customers with their choice of popular Apple accessories, accessories are completely free. With other more expensive options, occurs extra fee. So if you purchase any MacBook, you can select things like AirPods Pro, AirPods Pro 2. That'll be additional $70. Then the Magic Mouse, that'll be free. Magic Trackpad, that'll be free. And the Magic Trackpad with Touch ID, that'll also be free. And then the iPad gets similar things with keyboards and AirPods and such. And the iMac buyers will get AirPods. So good to see Apple continues to offer these perks for students, educators, because they don't have a big budget, and if they're buying their Mac or iPad for school, and why not? It's good to have that deal. Logitech, we talked about this already, and now we've officially got some information here about the Logitech Muse. They announced these two accessories. It was a spatially attracted stylus developed for use with the Apple Vision Pro, and it was introduced during the keynote address, but its intended support is for the next generation of spatial computing workflows enabled by VisionOS 26. Device incorporates 6 degrees of freedom tracking, pressure-sensitive tips, and real-time haptic feedback, allowing you to interact with digital environments. Logitech also released a new Flip Folio. It's a versatile new keyboard case for the iPad Pro and the iPad Air. This accessory has a full-size Bluetooth keyboard that magnetically attaches to the back of the protective folio when not in use. Case also includes a multi-angle kickstand that supports both landscape and portrait. So that's kind of, the folio looks like a pretty interesting thing here that you can get for your iPad. It's going to come in a 13-inch and an 11-inch model, and it supports the M4 iPad Pro models, as well as the 11-inch and 13-inch M2 and M3 iPad Air. It also will support the 5th-gen iPad Air, and keyboard's dedicated shortcut keys will support pairing with up to 3 Bluetooth devices simultaneously. So Logitech's always been known to have some really good keyboards as a good alternative, because Apple's charging $299 and $349 for their Magic Keyboard. The price is starting at $179.99 for the 13-inch and $159.99 for the 11-inch. Comes in several colors. Graphite and black will be available probably this month, and exclusive to North America. And additionally, they'll have a pale gray and a lilac option in September. So why not, right?
And I use Logitech with my iPads.
Yeah.
I have the keyboard. I have the old Folio, and I love it. Just absolutely love it. So exciting.
Absolutely. And let's two more quick stories here. Apple says the iPhone XS is now vintage, and it's gone to the vintage products list on its website. And when Apple considers it vintage, it's been once 5 years has passed since the company stops distributing it for sale. Apple stores and Apple authorized service providers may still offer repairs for vintage devices, but it'll be subject to parts availability. The XS came out in September of 2018, discontinued a year later. But the device remain available through select resellers for much longer, and it's got its 5-year status. I have a XS sitting here on my desk right now, and it's and I'm going to say goodbye to it. So goodbye, XS, and the 10 before that, and they've also moved the iPad 5 to the vintage list and to the obsolete list today. So products are getting old. No reason to be keeping these anymore. Time to upgrade, right? And finally, I want to talk a little bit about YouTube, the YouTube app. YouTube fixes a crashing issue on mobile apps and tells iOS users to reinstall. If you'd recently been experiencing YouTube crashes on your smartphone, Google has a fix in store, though iOS users might need to do a little more than update. And there has been several complaints on YouTube posted towards issues with the YouTube app on both Android and iOS devices, complaining of app crashes, video payback errors, general unresponsiveness. But Google did confirm it and it was aware of the issues. And they said recommended that you delete and reinstall the app from the Play Store and the App Store while it's working on the update. So that's what you have to do if your YouTube app doesn't work. Mm-hmm. All right. So before we go, we have to mention MacStock. MacStock is, oh my God, it's like what, 22 days left? Or no, is it 21 days left? I have to go check the site right now and make sure, but it's really coming up close here. And it is 21 days until we see all of you, right? It's July 11th, 12th, 13th in Crystal Lake, Illinois at the Holiday Inn. We're going to have an absolute blast. Come out and see us. All of us will be here. All of us are speaking except Eric, but Eric is great to be with us too because he'll hang out with us and have a lot of fun.
He'll do some Vision Pro stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chuck is not speaking this year, but he gets to have fun and interview a lot of people with Mac voices. So, but it's going to be great to see everybody here. And the concept this year is share, and going to have presentations, workshops, and it's just amazingly fun. And you can go down on the website at macstockconferenceexpo.com and you can see what the speakers are going to talk about through all the weeks here. I'm going to be talking about how to share with your screen sharing programs, and it's going to be great. And I'm going to have a lot of fun. And Marty's going to be talking about AI. And we can't wait to hear about that. And Jill, what are you going to talk about?
I am going to talk about getting fit with the Apple ecosystem. I have lost 60 pounds in the last week, and I have been working on getting fit.
Last week?
Well, in the last year, since you saw me last. And so I've been using Apple to get fit, and I've been using it for a long time, and I don't think everyone knows everything it can do. So there we go.
That's great. Looking forward to it. So come check us out. Jeff Gamet's going to speak here. We miss you, Jeff. He's going to be talking about what not to share, how to improve your online privacy security. We have Allison Sheridan. We have Brett Terpstra. There's so many great speakers. Come see us. And the exclusive discount code, if you want to join us, if you go to mac.conferenceexpo.com and put the 3-day pass into your cart, use InTouch50 at checkout, and you'll save $50 off of the price to hang out with us for 3 days. There's going to be a lot of great side events. Mac Geek Gab is going to be recording their show on Saturday night. Us Vision Pro users are going to have a nice room. They're going to be doing all kinds of Vision Pro fun stuff. We'll be recording numerous podcasts. We'll be recording as well as mine and Marty's, and I'm sure many others. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and it's a great place to be. You can network, you can meet new friends, hang out with old friends. Ecamm's going to be there with Doc Rock, and they're going to have an actual room set up so you can start learning. You can learn more about Ecamm and how to use it, and it's it's going to be an absolute blast. So come check it out. Again, mac.conferenceandexpo.com. Use the offer code INTOUCH50 at checkout. Save yourself $50. And please come see us. We can't wait. Can't you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, suggestions to our email address, which is at feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Mastodon. It's at In Touch with iOS. Support the show. Buy me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a Patreon of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we're live streaming. That's Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Witherbucket and Cletus and Web Bixby and so many others joined us. Thanks for being here in the chat. You can hang out with us while we're recording. That's on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where you can watch the current and past live streams as well as listen to past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to us in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to our website. That's intouchwithios.com, where all the links, all the ways to listen to us are over there on that site. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Blue Sky and Mastodon at DaveG65. And we're going to mix it up a little bit. Marty Jencius, where can people find you? Thanks for being here.
It's great to be here. You can find me on Mastodon, Jencius, Jencius at mastodon.social, also Jencius at Blue Sky. General email for the stuff that I do is the Pod Talk Network, all one slogan there, at gmail.com. Tuesday nights with Chuck on Mac Voices, Thursdays here with Dave, and of course Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, live streaming with Eric, Vision Profiles, where we cover news about Vision Pro and other exciting things about AR and VR headsets. Dave is part of that too now. He's a regular with us. And so we're having some more. We're also having some more folks drop in, so that's all going to be fun and enjoyable as part of that process. If you want to know what projects I'm doing, podcasts and things like that, check out thepodtalk.net is the website that has all of that.
Great. Thank you. And Eric Bolden, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
I can be found on Mastodon at eabolden at mas.to. Mondays on the VisionOS, as Marty just finished saying, with Marty and Dave. Tuesdays with macOS, with and Thursdays on with iOS, iPadOS, and some VisionOS. It kind of brings it all back together again. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
And that's this podcast and Mac Voices Live.
Yes, my brain is going. Too much time in a chicken house. Soon I will have a new background and it will explain itself.
Okay. We can't wait to see it. Chuck Joyner, thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure. Where can people find you?
You can find me at Mac Voices at macvoices.com. That's where we talk to a lot of interesting people, including all the people on here that just announced themselves as participating in Mac Voices Live. We are still doing the Road to Mac Stock series. Jill's interview is in the can, and I've got to get it edited and out probably next week. But we're talking to all the speakers, so by all means, check it out, because that way you learn a little bit about them and what they're going to be talking about as well.
Yes.
And on all the socials, you can connect with me as at Chuck Joyner, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on iCloud lawsuits. Not really, but
there you go.
You know.
Thanks, Chuck. Last but certainly not least, Jill from the Northwoods. I'll call you that because that's what everybody calls you. Where can people find you?
You can find me actually on YouTube, Jill from the Northwoods. I also have startwithsmallsteps.com that you can find all my podcasts there. And you can find me on X, Jill from the Northwoods, all those places.
All right. Thanks so much, Jill, for being here. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I hope you enjoyed it, because we enjoyed doing it, and we'll be back next week for another edition here. But until that time, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and we'll talk again soon.